So, good morning there.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you? Got to meet a new person downstairs for Cindy's office. She looks like a nice lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Peters.
We got some people online. Who do we have? Jim Peters is here. Hi. Okay,
Do it.
it's time for us to call the meeting to order. And I'm just waiting for Mac to be in the right place.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
My mouse went crazy on me. There you go.
We welcome the ones that are here and the ones that are on Facebook, and also the future ones that will be watching on YouTube. So we'll do a roll call.
Commissioner Mon here.
Commissioner Stubbs here. We have anybody to volunteer for an invocation?
I'll do it if you want. Either way.
Okay.
Want me to?
Okay.
Our gracious Father in heaven, as we gather as county officials this day, we thank thee for thy many blessings and pray that thy spirit will attend to us, that our minds can be effective in the decisions that we make, that we can have clear understanding. We're thankful for the opportunity to serve and to pray that we can do so with our constituents in mind and that we can do the best things for our county. We're thankful for this beautiful land that we have to live in, and may we respect it and be grateful for it and show our gratitude by respecting it. We're thankful for the people who also come to visit and spend time here and enjoy the beautiful surroundings that we have, and we ask for their safety. We pray for thy strength and thank thee for thy blessings this day. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm dragging.
Okay, at this time, we'll ask if we have any conflict of interest to disclose.
I have none.
I have none either. So we'll go down to the public comment session. Matt?
Nobody signed in for public comments, and we have two that are in
Do we have
attendance for
anybody
items.
Online.
So that's all you got for the day. Pretty easy.
Okay. Okay, our next item in the agenda is the consent agenda. And we'll turn the time to our county administrator.
Fast at those. So
Matt.
you've got approval of the small purchase of $5,252 for Civic Plus annual fee. Civic Plus is the one that hosts our website. They're also kind of the designer behind the scenes with the model template. They're software that we've been using under Municode. So Civic Plus purchased Municode out from under kind of joined forces, but the software Municode had is expiring, and so we've got to make some changes really fast on our pivot so we can continue with our website and that interface that we have for the public. So that's what that one is about. Then you have the ratification of the United States Department of Agriculture for Rural Business Development Grant Program. This you'd seen in your email. We had, because we skipped a meeting in there, we had this approval. That, Commissioners, are your two consent agenda items for today.
Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next item is the recognition presentation regarding judicial nominating commission for San Juan County.
This one here, if you remember right, during that presentation, we were looking for three: one to fill a 4-year, two to be part of this specific nomination. Commissioner Harvey.
How are you?
With that being said, Commissioner Harvey had mentioned that he may have some people that were willing to, from the Justice Coordinating Council, be a part of this process as well. We had met 2 Fridays ago, maybe a Friday ago, with the Justice Coordinating Council, and there were several of those individuals that volunteered. So we have, from that meeting, we have Tammy Squires volunteered, Steve Bennett volunteered, and LT, I can't remember his last name, LT with the school district. Ellerton took Trevor's spot.
Oh. We're
And so those are the 3 that had volunteered to do it from that Justice Coordinating Council. But it's up to you, Commissioners, to nominate
Be-
any others that you want.
Before we proceed, can we acknowledge that Commissioner Harvey is present? And also, Commissioner Harvey, did you have any disclosure on the agenda to make?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Reviewing the agenda, it looks like don't have any conflicts that I can see.
Thank you. And so, you had a comment?
So, Commissioner Harvey, I know you had 3 that volunteered. Were you willing to serve on that still? Did you want to? Or did you want to pass that off to one of the 3 that volunteered?
I think I'm happy to pass it off because it's just selecting the new judge. Really, that's the biggest role, and I trust that the volunteers will do a great job. It's really just doing the review of applicants with the Utah courts and then setting up the interviews. I think they'll be scheduled for whomever participates in the interviews to sit in on the interviews and be part of that, asking questions and then selecting the candidate. So there's two roles, if I remember correctly. There's one that will be specifically for interviewing the justice of the peace, and then the other role is for the 4-year term, right, Matt?
Yes, correct. And Steve is on the line as well.
So, and I would recommend Steve Bennett, because he's with juvenile justice. If you were to ask me who I would select for the 4-year, I think.
Okay.
And then for the interview, I forget, the school district person would be good for being part of the interview for the Justice of the Peace selection.
So could I throw out because we had mentioned Kelly Tracy. She works for the courts. She's been there like 20 years. So what if we picked?
I
Would we
think
be open to
Kelly-
picking one from his group and then
And I
considering
think Kelly
Kelly?
Tracy's one that we should have there.
I do too.
Can I make a comment? First of all, we need to decide what we're doing with the justice court.
Can you get close to the microphone so people can hear you?
I think we need to decide what we're doing with the justice court, because the way it's set up now is Monticello City has two, but depending on what the county, I know what Monticello City wants to do with the justice court, but the county needs to decide what it wants to do with the justice court before we make those decisions, because if for some reason the county told Monticello City to go fly a kite, then Monticello City had to, or decided to fold, or decided not to be a part of it, then they shouldn't be allotted 2 seats.
Oh.
So I think that needs to be decided, and I think it has pretty much been decided. But the county,
Is that your recommendation to do one?
well, my recommendation to,
Like we join with the city?
well, that's, yeah, and that's number,
Can we have,
I think that's,
You may want to switch the order of your.
yeah, that's
your-
item number 6.
and we
So I
can
think, we need to take
Yeah.
item number 6 first, to decide what the county wants to do with the justice court.
Okay.
Now, then, I know, I would just like to make a pitch that my office works on a daily basis with the justice court. It knows the issues, it knows the concerns, and there are some concerns. And so law enforcement also is similar to my office. They work with the justice court. They, everything goes through the justice court, Class B misdemeanors and below. So I know these people have volunteered, but I don't think they really have an understanding of what the issues and the concerns are with the justice court. My recommendation would be to have somebody from law enforcement be on the panel, because they, like I say, they're in the know, they have the knowledge, and somebody from my office, either myself or Jens, to be on that panel. And then I think the third person that needs to be on it is probably Kelly Tracy, who is the clerk there and has been the clerk there for 20-some years. So I just throw that out.
did you have anything else to add from, or we're gonna wait till we get to the
Right,
number
on
6?
this
Okay.
agenda,
We,
not
we
really.
also have online James Peter,
Yeah.
and so he can he
Yes.
came and talked to us. He gives some recommendations already, and one of the recommendations was that we already have an attorney representing on the board and the anyway. So I guess we'll get to item 6 and then we can come back and revisit.
Okay.
Okay, so the next item in the agenda,
You'll need to make a motion to take item 6 out of turn.
Oh, I think we were just gonna go down it.
we'll just go down and go into, we'll get to number 6.
Oh, okay.
Shall we do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Okay, this item on the agenda is business action.
Okay, this
Matt?
first item is consideration and approval to renew the interlocal agreement between Grand County Public Library and San Juan County Library System. This is different. Nicole is presenting. Michaela's here today.
I'm subbing for Nicole.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So anyhow, we have this interlibrary agreement to cover those people that live way closer to the Moab Library than to any of ours. Originally, they had pitched it at a much higher increase, and thank heavens they were. We went and met with their board and showed them kind of the reality of what we deal with budget wise and area wise down here. And they came up with a different solution, which we feel really good about. They increased it by 1,000. So instead of 6,000, it's now 7,000. It hadn't been increased for, I think, 10 plus years. So that felt like a pretty reasonable amount. And the only thing is that they took out, they're not covering the digital. I don't know how much you guys need to know. Anyhow, they're not covering the digital Libby thing for those patrons, but those patrons can come and get that coverage from us in our county. The state library is kind of cracking down on people having duplicate accounts and changing some stuff about it. And so anyhow, that was the solution that we felt really good about. And it's locked in for 3 years by what their board wanted, but it can be renewed for another 3 years, and we'll see what's going on with the population by then and with our county. But anyhow, did anyone have any questions?
I just thought basic comment, because when we were talking in the board meetings about how much the increase was, so it's kind of
Yes,
a lot.
it
And then
was.
I think it paid off when you guys went in person and visited with them, and you guys did a good job being good ambassadors going there, and I appreciate that. And
Thanks.
anyway,
Yeah, I'm so grateful that they came to a more feasible agreement.
yeah, that is really good. And that's one way that how we can cooperate with Grant County. And I think sometimes maybe talking in person, it helps. Anyway, so.
Yeah, it was really cool to go and see their beautiful library and meet with their board and watch how their board meetings went. Wasn't that different from ours, I didn't think, but but it was cool to see it. And we're just really grateful that they came to a more reasonable, found a way to come to a financial agreement that they could feel good about and that we could
Thank you.
meet.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
And
Need action on it.
so we have a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The motion passes.
Okay, item number 5. It's consideration and approval of the building inspector agreement with Monticello City under the Utah Code annotated 11-13-202.5, parenthesis 3. We've got County Attorney Mitch Mon presenting this one.
I don't know that I have a lot more to add. I sent this to each of the commissioners.
Can you just come in the front so we can, so people,
Well, I don't have a copy of that, but I guess I can read it from up there.
so we can, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to turn around to listen
Do
to you.
you
So
want my laptop?
I was gonna say, I've got you covered if you
Okay,
want it.
thank
Set
you.
up a monitor too.
I can't read that.
If you want, let's go this way then.
There you go.
I'm on the top of the first page.
So this was, we're back to that building inspection agreement with Monticello City, and I think an interlocal agreement was drafted, but it does not comply with the statute. This is simply a report, or my opinion, I guess, on the subparagraph or section 1, Roman numeral 1 is review of city and county responsibilities for inspection services. This goes through and talks about what some of the issues are. There's some. It does not comply with some of the statutes, but more importantly, USIP has told us that with the agreement the way it was, that we could not, the USIP would not insure the county because of the way the agreement was drafted and because it contains certain provisions in there. And basically there's, as I set forth, there's other issues with the agreement. I think the best way, I wanted to, number one, bring it to your attention that it has serious issues that were not insured under the agreement. So I think what we need is just to get with Monticello City and with their attorneys and hammer out something that will work for both the city and the county. And then bring it back before you once we've come to an agreement on what each party's responsibilities are.
I like that. I have some, I don't know if it's question or concern, I don't know. But
Okay.
Can we go to the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
Matt?
You betcha. Hold on.
I want to explain the process of the agenda, how the agenda is set up. Basically, what happened, presenters, they come, they're prepared, they have all the paperwork, and then the chair, the county administrator, and our assistant get together and we put a packet together. And the main concern for us is to have in compliance with the Utah Open Public Meeting Act. So that is the main thing as we bring the agenda before here. And so my concern was that it makes it sound that you think this MAC, the one that declined or doesn't decline the agenda. We together, we figure what, and most of the time, 99% of the time, we don't have an issue about people coming the last minute or something like that. And lots of time we let it go by. And it creates a feeling that we are not, that we're in contention. And so I had spent lots of time looking at the rest, but when I read that, the first thing, it just kind of made me think, okay, we start pointing finger already. And so the other thing is, when you say that it's up to you to, and I know what you meant, but it sounds like it's up to me if it is a move forward or not. It's my signature. But what I understand, you're trying to say that you're trying to obey the law, make sure that we have things in compliance. But sometimes it can feel like you are the final. But we have two parts. We have the part of us being the final say, but we also feel that we need to count on you approving things that right. And I spent lots of time on this contract looking at it, but it's too bad that we had that in the beginning. And I think it's because sometimes we don't understand the process of what happened before we get to this point. And that is making sure we have all the documentation in. And sometimes, and we're meeting deadlines and we're waiting for things, paper to come, and sometimes it's waiting to send the packet out. And so it is not an easy thing to do, and I just want to explain that if things get moved, it's because maybe somebody didn't have all the paperwork. Maybe because somebody requested a time. Sometimes the city myself and these things, they request certain things that we move things for another time because they wanted to be here. And so they're different things, and it's not Mac, just Mac. They make the decision. Sometimes they get to be 10 o'clock and we think, okay, we need to send this back in, and we had to say it's going to go another time. And so I just wanted to point those out so that when we don't have to have this kind of I don't like to be the bad guy all the time. And I usually not the kind of person that points this out, but I feel like that we need to clarify for the public. This is a public document, and they say why the MAC moved, this. And so just basically, I just want to say, I think what we need to do is communicate with each other too. I knew that I was going to suggest you communicate with their lawyer, and I think the lawyer want to communicate with, that's what we need to do. And if we have a question, you have regular meetings with Max, you can ask, I'm concerned about this. And I think that's one of the things that we are lacking is the communication. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being here in person today. And
Yeah.
And
Well,
so-
let me express my frustration.
Okay.
I have tried the last two commission meetings. I have submitted things timely, and I have tried to, outside of submitting things, send them to the commissioners directly. And I have never been able to get anything on the agenda. Last commission meeting, I submitted all this stuff to Rosa, and she wrote me back and said, yes, these are on the agenda. Well, I didn't find out that they weren't on the agenda. Nobody called me, nobody told me. So yes, communication, works both ways. So I don't know how to get things on the agenda. My concern is, how do we determine what gets on the agenda? Because the chair does not have that authority. If the chair had that authority, you could censor and take away the voting rights of the two other commissioners by you deciding what goes on and what doesn't go on the agenda. That's why it's very important that we get the policies and procedures. I don't know how come it's taken so long,
well,
but that was submitted months ago, and we keep not making no progress. So technically, we have no rules up here. We have no rules on when to get things submitted. That thing needs to be passed. But that's my frustration, is I feel like you are not putting things on the agenda, not because they're not timely, because they are timely. You're taking them off the agenda, I feel, because you don't like the content of what I'm trying to communicate to the commission. So that's the frustration on my part.
and I think in the frustration that my part is, as a chair, I've been removed from my position a lot, and because we think, well, we operate under a draft, but that is another subject. And the reason we haven't been working on the procedure, I'm going to bring it up today in our executive meeting, is because the commissioners have been gone. We just have a hard time trying to get together, and we have canceled some meetings because of people being gone. And so it does take time, and I'm as frustrated as you are, because I feel that I sign in documents, and I feel sometimes that I'm not being taken serious, because people can say, well, you're not legit. And so it's a frustration from both ends, but I think we can work with, and sometimes if it, and I think communication both ways is very important, but I don't think that I have worked with every agenda, and I don't think that things have been taken personally in any way. So I just want to add that. But I appreciate this, and I appreciate that you're trying to make sure that your signature is put in a document that is going to protect the county.
Yes.
But also in the end, when everything is done, it's up us as a commissioners for us to approve what is being done. So
Getting back to this, I would like to see this get put on a work session because if you look, one of the primary decisions that the county commission has to make is, as I've noted here, that under the statute it says a local government should take care if it chooses to enter into such an interlocal agreement with an adjacent jurisdiction using its own building inspector if its inspector could have otherwise separately and independently contracted for such work. So what that means is it's saying that they advise against us entering into an interlocal agreement with the city. If the city could on its own enter into a contract with a local building inspector, which I believe the city can. But that's obviously not for me to decide. So I would recommend seeing if we can put this on the agenda for the next work session, invite the city to come, and maybe the city wants to give its spill today, I don't know, but that's the primary decision, and I'll be happy to explain it a little bit more in detail, but I just think it's too complicated for us to decide here today. And so my recommendation would be that we put this on the agenda for the next work session.
And I agree with that because this is very complicated for us as commissioners. I check out the things and I see lots of good things there, but I also have some concern. And I think we are a team. And so, Mac, do we have open for this work?
We'll add it on there. You kind of see the flow of the agendas. If there's not a lot on the agenda, then we cancel the work session and bring things forward on the commission agenda. And so,
well, even maybe schedule a special meeting, for not only this, but some other issues that we have.
So are there changes to the agreement that you could make in the meantime so that we can see those changes that you'd recommend in there? Would it be easier, or you just want to have the discussion?
Well, because I think that primary question needs to be answered. Whether we're going to tell Monticello City, no, you go contract with your own. Why are we entering into an interlocal agreement with the city? There's pros and cons. And I think the city needs an opportunity to speak on that. But so if the commission decided that primary question that no, we're not going to enter into an interlocal agreement with the city, we're going to tell the city to go and find its own building inspector and contract with its own, then that pretty much, there's no need to really even have a work session or anything.
What if we decide that we want to work with the city?
Then the next step would be probably to have the city's representatives and its attorney and myself and Mac sit down and go over.
The thing is, our reality is we don't have that many people available to do that kind of work, and sometimes we have to kind of share things and kind of figure how we can make it work. And so anyway, but yeah, we're all trying to work and talk about how maybe during a sector meeting we can talk about how we can make it work. And
Yeah, I do,
we
but
can
I'll let you guys discuss first.
anyway.
and then I'll add.
So yes, after you're done, we'll have Kaden talk to us.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
First off, thank you so much for all you guys are doing. I sit on the other side of the table. I gladly will sit there all day. Thank you for being elected officials. But I do have some concerns with this agreement coming back, which I'm open to coming back to another meeting and discussing things. Some of my major concerns with this agreement, the reason why it was stated and started to begin with was because Monticello City recognized that the county was not billing us for the services you were rendering to us. You guys performed about 6 years worth of building inspections for free. So we approached Kristen when she first got hired and said, we've been working with, who is her predecessor? Scott. And working through an agreement to come forward to say, let's make an agreement so you know what to do. We have a set pay schedule. We formalize everything we've been doing for the last couple of years that never got paid. We then worked with Kristen. We got it back paid. This agreement that you guys have in this packet was sent to us from the county. Kristen sent it over. We got it in March is when we learned about it. We didn't receive it until November of last year. So we've had this agreement for a long time. The county has had this agreement for a long time. I'm just very worried that coming back and keep rehashing it, we're going to constantly find something to change. When I've looked at other interlocal agreements between cities and counties for the same service, theirs is a one-pager and then done. Ours is, I don't remember, Mitch, are we at 8 pages now?
I don't know.
6.
6. Anyways, we've definitely hashed out a lot of the finer details that come along with having building inspection services. We've done identification clauses. We've hit a lot of the major things that other counties and cities are ignoring, which I'm not saying we should follow them. I do think it's wise for us to go through and do this. The other concerns I have is the agreement you have attached to this is the agreement that was presented to you as a commission. If you remember, when you approved it, I said there are 2 mistakes in this agreement, and they were my errors by switching my definitions. I had switched building inspector with building official services. I swapped the 2, and I did it actually in 2 places. So the current agreement that our attorneys had submitted and was submitted over to Mitch so that they could both talk about it together and make sure everybody was happy with it contains definitions of what each part means. I'm just concerned that it's not part of this presentation when it was sent out at the end of September. So those are just some of my concerns. I'm willing to work through this, see what you guys have to say, and work on creating an agreement with you. One thing, when it does come to contracting out, 2 of the individuals we reached directly out to contract said, no way. We might do it as an employee, but we won't do it as a contractor. The other individual has told us he won't contract with us regardless. So we did go out and offer a paid position for someone to be an employee of the city and be the building inspector part-time. We pay for services. We offered him quite a bit to just be available. And we still had no interest in that type of position. That is why we've come forward with the interlocal agreement. We have tried the other resources. They're not working for us. It makes sense because your building inspector is housed here in Monticello for us to work with you guys because we're in the same city. Your mileage is less than 2 miles any direction if we call on them. So it's not too hard, but that's just some of the things I wanted to bring forward from the city perspective. I'm just concerned because if this keeps coming forward, why can't we work on it and then come forward and say, this is what the agreement is. You as a commission can review it and then make adjustments from there. But I do agree, if we do hash this out, a work session would be an appropriate place for this. Is there any questions of me and what the city's done or anything that's happened in the past that I may or may not know?
Well, I appreciate you coming here, and I also appreciate you requesting to be present because now we can hear part of the story, the rest of the story that we have been doing this for quite a while, and so that kind of helped a little bit for me at least to see the better picture, but because we want to follow the law, but we need to have the whole story. And I appreciate you coming here. And
I appreciate you guys postponing the last meeting. I went on a vacation. It'd been planned for almost a year. I was super excited for it. And half of my administration was gone to training. So we didn't have anybody to come and chat with you. So thank you for moving it to this meeting. And the last thing I was going to say, as part of this agreement, we also went out and got our own backup agreement with Blanding so that we would have the backup services needed when you guys, if something happens. For example, your building inspector can inspect his own home. So we're covering those type of things as talked about when we initially went through this agreement. I just wanted you guys to understand we also have that in place because of those problems that we could foresee, just because we're small communities. Everybody can't do everything, and so we don't.
We just
Don't
don't
expect
have
that.
the same resources the big counties have, so
Mhm.
got to figure out ways to work together. But
Anything we can share and make it better.
any questions or comments from your commissioners?
I guess I would just say, yeah, I think a work session would be advantageous, and also the fact that I think the main thing is we just got to make sure that we are covered legally.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing for the county. We do have to protect that regardless.
Well, and that's I just want to point out two things. Is the first I saw this was when it was on the agenda just a couple of weeks ago. So and the second thing is Johnny Miller is actually the one that kind of brought it to my attention that it is not, that he would not insure it, that USIP would not insure it because of some of the issues with it. So.
And with that, I totally understand, but I do want to clarify one fact. I have an email here from 11/7/2024 from Kristen Bushnell stating that please take a look at this document and it will be on the county commission as soon as possible. Is CC'd in that email was myself, Megan Gallegos, and Mitch Mon. Did you you should have received this email.
If she sent it, then I received it, but I don't
Okay.
recall.
Those are some of my
When was it sent?
November 7th, 2024. So it's been a minute. I will
Yeah.
grant that because you get 1,000 emails.
Yeah.
But my biggest concern is that this original agreement originated from the county. We did not write it. We took what was received from us. Now, no, the employee that sent it to us is no longer here at the county. I don't feel it's appropriate to ask her about this. But I do know that the attorneys were involved at least starting in November. Now, I learned about the contract in March. I don't know what happened that time frame from March to November 2024. But I'm just worried that I don't want to drag this out forever, especially if this has already gone around the sun a year. I don't want to push it another year and still be in the same position. So,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
So,
Do you need this spot for the next agenda item?
Probably.
Do you need my packet?
Probably.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
what's next, Mac?
Okay. Let's see, this one here, discussion on combining Justice Court with San Juan County and Monticello City. This one is Mitch as well.
Yeah.
And I do have your memo open up here if you need it.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I just want to make sure some of these things. I just want to make sure we're doing things correctly, and not on this one. I think we're putting the cart before the horse, because the county needs to decide what it wants to do with the three options. And I think which I've outlined there. It says keep both courts separate. Judge Hazelton's retiring. Right now, there's a San Juan County Justice Court and a Monticello City Justice Court. Monticello City is patrolled by the sheriff's office, so they're out and about in Monticello City writing tickets. Those or confiscating drugs or what have you. Those types of incidents come before the Monticello City Justice Court. Anything that happens elsewhere in the county except for Blanding City goes to the San Juan County Justice Court. So we have two courts. Well, we really have three. There's the Blanding City, but that operates all by itself with no oversight or involvement with the county in any way. Monticello City, the way that's operated is, as I've said, there's technically two courts with two judges, but the judges happen to be the same person. So you have Lyon Hazelton, who is the judge over the San Juan County Justice Court, And then he's also the judge over the Monticello City Justice Court. So with him retiring, then that leaves a vacancy for both courts. And so that prompts the question here of what do we want to do with the two courts? Does Monticello City want to continue on, keep the way it is now, or to dissolve it? I've given you the three options. One is to keep both courts separate, maintaining their individual contracts, identities, costs, and revenues. So that's one issue. Two is merge the courts under an interlocal agreement that outlines shared responsibilities, costs, and revenues. And three is dissolve the Monticello City Justice Court. They just wouldn't have a justice court. If somebody was pulled over in Monticello City, it would go to the San Juan County Justice Court. And so I think some decisions have been made, but I don't think the county commission has actually made a decision on what they want to do, on what we want to do. And so I think, again, I think Caden would be the best person to tell you what Monticello is wanting to do and to make his spill.
So we were informed about the same time you guys were that Judge Hazelton was due to retire. The state reached out. Jim?
Yeah, he's online. He's online right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Steven is there.
Stephen is okay. And I visited quite a bit with Jim since we started this whole process. Ultimately, the three decisions that Mitch has lined out is the decisions that Monticello City has to make. Monticello City Council has reviewed it, and our thoughts are, if you guys are patrolling the city, it makes sense also for it to be part of the same justice court. Instead of having Monticello City Justice Court be separate and then you guys still do the patrolling for us. Some of the advantages that come with that, whether I admit it or not, are still there. There's money incentives by issuing more tickets, more money comes into the Justice Court. Right now, Monticello City has been receiving those funds. We receive about $100,000 excess funds from the Justice Court once we pay all of the bills and associated expenses with it. Now, that's under the way we've currently been running. There's been years where it's been up, where it's been down. COVID was interesting. It went all over the place. But that is kind of the thoughts Monticello City has, is we would like to work with you guys to propose a interlocal agreement. Now, that interlocal agreement has been drafted, has been sent to the attorneys, the administrators. We all have a copy of it to see if it follows what we'd like to do. But what we need from you as a commission is, do you like the idea of an interlocal agreement, or would you prefer that these remain separate? Monticello City, we've decided that we will not give up the Justice Court completely and dissolve it. That, to us, is the nuclear last option for us. Our first option would be an interlocal agreement with you guys, if not to possibly share the same judge like we have done, which when we say share the judge, that means we pay for a portion of the cases that he sees. The state regulates that. They send us a letter every year and says, based on last year, this is how many of the cases were Monticello City's. This is your portion of the judge's salary. And then we pay him directly from the city funds based on those numbers that's sent out. I believe you guys receive one every year as well from the court system outlining what acceptable pay is for a justice court judge. Essentially, we have told the state we are looking at an interlocal agreement that has brought us to the point where we are now looking at, what is it called? Selection committees and moving things forward under that pretense. We need to know from you guys what you would like to see done for that agreement, whether it be an interlocal or whether we operate separately still. Is there?
Yeah, I do have a question. So just because I got to clarify this in my mind. The way it exists now is you have your own justice. The county has their own, but we have the same judge. So,
and we
was
share
it
our
just
clerks
because-
as well.
Was it because of the agreement, or just because Judge Hazelton was hired by the county and then you happened to hire him? Because you could have hired your own, correct?
We
Is that right?
could have back when we did it. I don't know
you just used
the
the same
reason
one.
why we hired the same one. I believe it's because at the time the city and
Okay.
county administrator had looked at it and went, why operate two courts in Monticello? Let's operate under one roof. And that's when it all became combined,
And
from
that's
my knowledge.
And that's what you would like to do with the interlocal. So one judge.
The
But we
interlocal.
still have separate courts.
So the
technically.
interlocal agreement actually would go a step beyond that. In Monticello Court would be basically deactivated and sit in the background and collect us. Everything would run under San Juan County.
Okay, that's what you want.
That is the initial thought we have. If that does not work, we are also game to keep our justice court operating. It would mean two separate ticketing system, essentially, of what the court tracks. But
Okay.
we would also propose maybe we do share the same judge and share the clerks like we have in the past.
Okay.
But that would require an updated agreement because we've kind of hit this point with Judge Hazelton leaving.
So option 2 is really your preference.
Um,
And that
Merge
would,
the courts. Okay.
Merge the courts is
Okay.
option
That's
is
your
our option 1, if not option
Okay. So
Yes.
number 2 is your option 1.
yes.
Okay.
and I don't have a problem with that. I
Okay.
just, it's something the commissioners need to decide.
I just need to clarify in my head.
You,
Commissioner Harvey.
on my
Any
paperwork, I
comments?
listed it the other
Any
way, and I
questions?
failed to
It's
look
okay.
down.
I just had heard so many ways. I just got to make sure it was right in my head. So thank you.
And that discussion, of course, when we do get to that point, I want to discuss quite a bit, because the way other cities and counties have set up this type of interlocal agreement is they set specific restrictions on how to handle the money and how to handle the reporting. Because even though the Justice Court is going to be merged into one, Monticello City, we're still interested in what's going on in the city and what's happening. And some cities have said, hey, you send us all the money, we send you a check back. Other cities have said, keep all of it, but this percentage, send it to the city. We have different proposals because you are also our sheriff's department. Maybe it's keep all, but document this. There's different options there. So that's something that also needs to be considered as we discuss is
Okay.
how we want the financial side to work out.
And just for example, right now, Monticello City has its own prosecutor, which happens to be me, and I get paid a certain amount a year to do that. If we merge them, then that there no longer will be a separate salary for me. However, that will probably have to be made up because San Juan County then will have to budget more in my office to make up for the work that we're doing. So it's those kind of financial, that's just one example, but we're going to be sharing the clerks, things like that.
And some of the other thing too is the public defenders as well. They're in the same type of boat. We have our own contracts for those. Those would ultimately either be dissolved or moved towards the commission, the county, if we were to do something like that. So
We would still collect the revenue, the additional revenue to
One
offset.
one
that
of
is
the
potential.
issues I see, we don't have that many lawyers in San Juan County,
It's very true.
and so they're trying to. The more courts we have, the more lawyers we need, and so anyway. But we have Mr. Peters and online.
Jim is.
See if he has any comments or.
Jim, do you have any comments?
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, I really don't have comments on the idea of whether the county and the city enter into an interlocal, other than to say, as Caden indicated, that's from the public's perception, pretty much the way it's been operating for decades now. I don't think, in terms of your constituents, I don't know that anything would change by entering into this interlocal. On the inside, from an operations standpoint, the hope would be that it might simplify things, streamline operations a little bit. But that said, there are cities and counties that have discussed this and never come to an agreement. So it's not necessarily a no-brainer. But in your case, where that's basically been the MO for so long, it just seemed like it was something worth talking about. And so, like Caden said, you know, he and I and Mac, and we've been talking about these different options now for a couple of months. But ultimately, you know, it's up to the commission. I certainly don't understand all the nuances that go into an arrangement like this. So I leave it to all of you as the experts to decide what's best for your community. But it does seem to work well in a majority of the jurisdictions that do it.
Any question from Kaden? Any question from you, attorney?
No.
We appreciate you leaving meetings to come and be here with us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Well,
So ultimately, I guess part of what my request was is to be able to work with the city on refining the interlocal agreement, if that's what the county wants to, if that's the course the county wants to go. My request would be to get myself and the city attorneys to draft up an interlocal agreement.
I do.
any question for you,
It's
Commissioner?
drafted.
I was gonna say it is drafted, but I don't think you guys
We sent
can
it
make
to
the
Mitch.
decision
Mitch has
today.
it. We wanted Mitch to weigh in on it
Yeah,
early.
and I think we need to just set up a meeting to go over it.
Have a meeting to read the agreement. Okay.
And it looks like, because sorry, I do this all day with the city. It looks like it was just a discussion, so I don't think we can take an action today.
Correct.
But you guys can bring this back to the next meeting. I'm happy to come back
That's the
when it's
direction.
ready. And if you want to have a discussion then as well, we'll bring a draft of that agreement based on what we come up with. Then you guys can make decisions and we can talk not harder things, but the details.
I think this,
Hopefully, have all the details hammered out in the irrevocable when it comes to this.
It looks, I've taken one that was from Iron County. I did the adjustments and I sent it to the attorneys because I know I mess up in those agreements. So far, I think we're close, but we'll know soon.
okay, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Caden.
Commissioner Harvey, you come.
All right. So
Madam Chair, just since we're in discussion mode on these two things, one thing that I think would be important that I'll just mention here is we do have a criminal justice coordinating council. And when we have our meetings, one of our biggest points is being able to access information in regards to just the climate of our county and some of the pressing just what's there in regards to criminal justice. And for the past year, I think our biggest request was, where do we get the data? When can we study the numbers so that the decisions we make as a criminal justice coordinating council, where we're addressing the needs. So I think if there's a mechanism with these interlocal agreements to find a way to collect the information so that it's accessible, and maybe two things, I think. The data, where can the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, how can the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council access the data for the county? And then the second piece is we do need a voice, a representative who speaks to all the functions of the justice of the peace and what they're seeing. That's essential because on an annual basis, we're creating priorities for legislature and we're making priorities for what we have in our county as needs that we want to move forward and getting addressed. So if those two pieces can somehow be written into our interlocal agreements, that would be great. Where do we get our data? How can we get our data for a Criminal Justice Coordinating Council? Who will represent and provide the information piece for the Justice of the Peace and his work? I think that's the biggest pieces there. But that's just my comments, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Juan.
Yes, thank you. Just to go back, I know we're kind of wrapping this up, but we had started on that presentation for the nomination commission. Do we need to kind of finish that up with this discussion? Because I don't see it further down. If that's the route we're going, do we need to finish up who we're nominating?
Well, so is that just the decision to merge or what to do with the Justice Court? Is that just a discussion item?
Well, it was a discussion, yeah, to merge, but when we were talking about it in the presentation, we decided to follow it down into number 6. So we probably need to finish that conversation about if I mean, it sounds like the merging is the best option. Of course, it's not final, but if that's it, then we've got to have a nominating committee as well.
So, and that was, I think, the thought process is talk about the nominating committee after talking about the options with the city, so you guys could then select who you felt would be good on that type of committee based on the options that were available for the Justice Court for Monticello City.
Okay, so we do need to continue that discussion.
Well,
Yeah, I
I-
think Jim might have a
Yeah,
question on
Okay.
something that you said.
Joanna, I think we're pressing for time. I think it's one of the things we need to decide.
Yeah, I just didn't want to move off till we had that cleared up.
Chair, if I could, whether the city and the county decide to interlocal or not, the county still has these 3 slots to fill. If it ends up being an interlocal, then we'll put together a single nominating commission that has 7 people, and that would include the 2 people that Monticello appointed. If there ends up being no interlocal agreement, then we'll run 2 different nominating commissions, but both nominating commissions would include at least one of the people that the county has to appoint, and then one would include the other 2, and then the Monticello Commission would include their 2. But both of them have 3 commissioners in common. And one of those, 2 of them are already in place. The third, the county appoints. So the people who are already in place, and they would serve on both nominating commissions or just the one combined. That's Craig Halls and Rebecca Benally. So the third position is the 4-year term, and that's the one that needs to be filled regardless of whether we have 1 or 2. And then the county needs to fill the other 2 slots, whether it's just for their nominating commission or for the one that's combined. So either way, what I'm trying to say is it would be helpful if we could fill those 3 slots today while the parties, continue to have discussions about the interlocal itself. But that way we could be on a parallel track where I could schedule a meeting maybe first week of December in hopes that the decision with the interlocal would be finalized by then. Because Judge Hazelton retires at the end of December, and even after the nominating commission gets together, the names that they decide to forward to the county commission, the 3 of you, those go out for public comment for 10 days, and then that doesn't give you a lot of time to make a decision. And it is your decision ultimately that the nominating commission only vets the candidates and gathers information to serve as a resource for the 3 of you when it comes down to making the final decision. So you're the ones that pick the new Justice Court judge. It's not the nominating commission, but they will learn a lot along the way that should be helpful to you as you're trying to decide who you want to select.
So we talk about Kelly.
So
Yeah, well, whatever you want. I mean, we
Yeah.
can throw all the names
So
out and decide
yeah,
our three.
we can,
Yeah.
we're gonna start with one name we have. Oh, you had anybody? I heard somebody here, so I wasn't sure.
no, I'm.
Commissioner Mann and I were talking earlier about Kelly. She already worked for you,
She works for the Justice.
so that, be somebody coming from there with experience, and so that will be one name we add to.
So Kelly, and then who?
Commissioner
It was
Harvich.
suggested someone from the law enforcement.
Yeah, I think Wyatt Holyoke, he's the lead investigator for,
Well,
the
the sheriff
sheriff's
chimed
office.
in on this as well, just to throw it out there. He had mentioned he's on, he's online texting. He's like either myself or Lieutenant Turk can do it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what the sheriff, coming from the sheriff.
yeah, I would recommend Wyatt Holyoke, he's the lead investigator. I have some reservations, well, that's my recommendation.
And then,
Lieutenant
then
Giddings would be another.
whoever
name.
he says.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is for the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, we identified 3 potentials: Steve Bennett, Tammy,
LT Erickson.
and the school district.
LT.
Erickson.
Mhm.
Yeah. So for me, because I'm chair of the CJC, I would recommend Steve
Steve Bennett.
because he's with the court.
Juvenile justice.
I'm good with that.
Juvenile justice.
Yeah.
So that would be from the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. That would be our guy. But whomever else, I mean, I'm leaning towards our attorney for the other names.
No, I think those 3, I would be fine with those 3.
So do we have the 3 then?
Yeah, are you good at that?
Yeah,
So
that's
who were
good.
the 3, just to make sure? So I've got
So
Steve
for the
Bennett.
record,
I've got Kelly, and then who's
Wyatt.
Wyatt,
Wyatt?
They said.
Sheriff, you're okay with Wyatt?
yes.
So,
If I could, just so that we can be clear, which one of those 3 would you put in the 4-year slot, which is one that the county appoints for any nominating commission that comes along in San Juan County, versus the other 2 that are just specific to this next hire?
Steve or Kelly?
I would think somebody from law enforcement ought to be on there for the 4 years. So I would say Wyatt.
well,
And it's significant because if Monticello ends up doing a separate nominating commission, then this person that we're talking about would be on theirs as well. And that's why I was recommending a couple of weeks ago that the clerk would be the ideal position. And again, it's totally up to you, just for what it's worth, where she's involved currently with both courts. Putting her in the 4-year slot would allow her to be involved with both commissions if we end up having them. If it's just the one combined, then maybe not as critical. But
we
that's
appreciate.
fine.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And we appreciate you being here, and it's for that reason, so you can help us navigate through this process. So, anyway, so did somebody want to make a motion for that, or?
I don't think that it was more of an administrative, not a legislative act, and so
maybe we can just clarify.
we'll go ahead and
Because Mitch is okay with the clerk being the 4 years.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Maybe I don't know.
Kelly for the 4, and then Wyatt, and then Steve.
And then
for
if
the-
someone can't hold that, can we please be notified so that we can?
we
'cause
can
we-
reach out to Steve.
How about if I just draft up a 1 paragraph
Sure.
resolution stating that that's those 3, and then I can submit it for if you guys want to approve that, I can submit it to Commissioner Stubbs for signature.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
If she's good with that, yeah.
Okay.
So that works for you, Mr. Peters?
Yes, thank you so much for all your help with this.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
No, we are here. We want to facilitate this, and we appreciate your time. I know that you had to leave other meetings, and this took longer than I thought. So thank you so much. But
No
we'll need
problem
to
at all.
figure out how to put it in a form of a motion so that we can.
We could we just do a like a resolution, the one paragraph, and then ratify it the next meeting?
Yes.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you hear that? We're gonna do.
And if the commission's not opposed, and Mitch, maybe tell me if this is premature, but I'd be inclined to reach out to all of these people and start looking at dates and calendars to see if we can get a meeting scheduled. But if it makes more sense to have the resolution ratified first, then I'll hold off.
No, I think that time is of the essence on this. So, yeah, I think if you want to start contacting those three, I will send you an email this afternoon with their names and their contact information.
Perfect.
You
Thank
wanna
you
reach
so
out
much.
to them, and in the meantime, I don't think we need to wait for the resolution, but I will draft the resolution.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you want to make the? Did you want to?
I other than that, it says discussion. That's why we didn't make a motion on it. So we'll just ratify it the next meeting.
Okay.
So-
I don't
so-
know if we.
So he'll email him with the names. He'll start
Okay.
contacting him with the resolution. Then you'll
Okay.
sign it and we'll
Okay.
ratify it next
Okay.
meeting.
Sounds good then.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thanks again.
everyone, for this process. For Kaden, for Attorney Mon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Congress can't make an agreement, but San Juan County.
Okay,
Commission
we
Okay,
are
so
you
now-
ready to move on?
so do we need to do any motion or anything? We just move on. Okay.
We're just moving on.
So we go to number
7.
7.
Consideration and approval of a resolution of the San Juan County Commission, State of Utah, appointing temporary judges to the Justice Court. This is a request from
Okay, and the
Judge
names.
Hazelton, that he
And the
has
names
some
are on the back.
temporary and some backups.
There are the names of the
And these
judges.
are the 3 names he had
Here. Oh,
recommended.
yes. there.
Judge Kelly Laws, Judge John Carper, Judge Denali.
You know, I think there's an issue with that. I don't think Judge Laws or, if you can scroll down, what's the other one?
Oh,
Uh,
Judge John
Judge,
Carper.
Judge Donnelly Welch or Judge Kelly Laws are not licensed attorneys. So I don't think they can act as interactive or a temporary judge.
It's appointment. Does it matter if it's just appointed?
No, I don't think, I don't know, I would have to look, but I'm pretty sure that they cannot, be appointed because they're not licensed attorneys. So yeah, Jim, you would know that, wouldn't you?
It's a bit of a gray area because they have been certified as Justice Court judges by the Judicial Council. So I think they're okay to cover on a temporary basis. They would not qualify to serve as the new judge. They couldn't be appointed to take Judge Hazelton's place permanently. But and again, we're kind of in flux, and it's a gray area. But I think they could be used to cover temporarily. And if you approve them as part of this resolution, that doesn't force you to use them. If you prefer Judge Carpenter to the other 2, then you'd have that flexibility. But if you'd be more comfortable with it, I can seek a formal legal opinion just to make sure on Judge Laws and Judge Welch O'Donnell. But as as the practice goes, where they've been certified as justice court judges, they would qualify to serve as temporary substitutes in your jurisdiction.
Well, as someone that works with the justice court on a daily basis, my recommendation would be either Judge Carpenter or Judge Donnelly Welch.
Wait, real quick. What was the requirement they had to have?
That they're licensed attorneys.
I didn't think Judge Hazelton was.
He's not, but
they're appointed.
But he was grandfathered in because
okay,
they came out with a new law
okay
saying that any new judges have to be a licensed attorney.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Licensed to law have to have
a law degree.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. So the other two do have that license?
No.
Carpenter or
Judge Carpenter does.
Okay.
So Judge Carpenter does.
Where's he?
I really like Judge Donnelly Welch. She's the justice court judge for Grand County.
Oh, okay.
I really like her. Judge John Carpenter is very experienced as well, and he is.
But can we make sure that we check the other? I
check the other two.
He's saying that we can do it, and then I
have a question. Could we ask all three, and then when they cannot, you can pick who you want to take the case for a few months?
No.
Or is it better just have one appointed?
It's better to just have one because there's going to be a little recruitment period, a little training period, even though, it's going to take them a while to get acclimated to things. So to me, it wouldn't make sense to have all three, and you never know which judge you're, and so if you wanted to be safe, Judge John Carpenter is a licensed attorney.
And where is that person from?
I believe he is from Price.
That's right.
And Kelly Lass is from Blanding?
And Judge Donnelly Welch is from Grand County.
Well, I probably have some concern about that third one, but anyway, so when we have multiple choices, it gives us a chance to select who we want to use. But when we just try to get one person, then we're just depending on somebody. Anyway, so.
Attorney recommends Judge John Carpenter because for safe, he's licensed.
Okay, so we just go with Carpenter and we check on Kelly Lass, see if he's close to the area. I don't know.
If I may, I'm not going to say any names on this list. I have heard some negativity about one of them with regards to Native Americans. So either we can go into, when we speak about someone's character, I don't know if we need to go into a close to discuss that or not, but I think there's some concern there.
I'd like to motion, we can do executive session, right?
Yeah.
I'll motion to go into executive session.
Okay.
I'll second that, if you are ready for that.
Okay, we'll just wait for them. So we have a motion, you make a motion, second, all favor say aye.
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 Are you coming back?
I am.
Did you get my texts?
No, but I turned on do not disturb while you had my iPad. I didn't want to go off all the time.
You can, that's a whole different issue, if you'll just let me know about that.
Not yet.
Okay.
I talked to them because the council wants to know more.
Okay. I'll talk to you about that after.
So do we just
I'll call you.
commissioners meet, or do we
Yeah.
need just us commissioners?
Do you want